Boris Johnson refuses to nominate an EU commissioner, the Labour Party want to nationalise BT, and The Guardian called this channel hard right. Now we're filming today from Stoke. We've come here as part of our election tour to visit various constituencies and speak to the local voters to see what they think about the election. But let's start today's video by talking about Boris Johnson and the European Union. As you know, when we didn't leave the EU again at the end of October, we were basically forced to nominate a new EU commissioner on behalf of the UK, but Boris Johnson has said no. And right now, the European Union have said that they would take the UK to the courts if Boris Johnson doesn't actually nominate someone by the 22nd of November. The EU have now said that there could be a legal case action against the EU over failure to name a commissioner. Each of the bloc's 28 member states are required to nominate an EU commissioner to serve in the European Commission, a new team to be led by European Commission President-elect Ursula von der Leyen is due to serve from the 1st of December. However, the UK government said this week that it will not nominate a UK candidate before the election is done. Now, this decision has basically pissed off the Brussels, and they've said that you have until the 22nd of November, otherwise we'll take you to the European Court of Justice, which is, very impartial. Not really. Now, this comes after what Boris said also about the payments. Boris Johnson has also said a couple of weeks ago that the UK will not be paying any extra money to the European budget. We will only be paying anything that's already owed as part of our membership until now. And again, the EU are not too happy about this because they know that if Boris Johnson obviously gets a majority, then he will get Brexit done by January, which is, I don't understand what their point is. If Brexit's going to be sorted, just sign a free trade deal and move on. But these people just want their money. These people don't really want us to leave properly. So we have to wait and see how this actually ends, because if they want to take us to the courts, it's not a normal court, it's a European Court of Justice, which will take the EU side over us anyway. So as long as Boris stays strong against them, then that's good for them. But otherwise, there's no point in nominating a commissioner or appointing one when we're going to be leaving in a few weeks anyway. So that's the situation with that, and we'll keep you guys posted. Now, with the Labour Party, as you know, Marxism has completely dominated this centre-left, so-called centre-left party. Jeremy Corbyn now wants to give free internet to every household by nationalising BT. Yeah, because that's the way to do it. And, well, let's have a look at what they actually say. Because the Labour Party have pledged free broadband for all. They promised to give every home and business in the UK free full fibre broadband by 2030. Now, a couple of issues with this. Firstly, the BBC. The mainstream media are supposed to be impartial, they're supposed to be logical and rational, but they're not really. They keep every article you've seen, every notification that you get from BBC News says free broadband, free internet. It's not free. Stop saying it's free. That's just, they're literally taking the EU, the Labour's policy side. Firstly, it's not going to be free, obviously. Labour have said it's going to cost the taxpayers £20 billion. And now the head of BT have come out and said, no, it will cost about £100 billion. And this morning, the BT share have gone down by 4% because of this news. Now, the problem is they want to nationalise, and they always use the phrase, we're going to give it to the public. But actually, in reality, the BT right now is owned by the public. It's privatised, which means the company is owned by the workers and the consumers. Every individual, citizens in the country, has the right to buy a share in BT. And a lot of the workers and a lot of consumers have already done that. They're in charge of the company because they own it. Whereas the Labour Party want the state, the government, to own this, and they want the taxpayer to pay for it, but without having any say over the governance of this organisation. And that's the difference between when we say nationalise and privatise, because privatise sounds bad, nationalise sounds good, but in reality it's the exact opposite. If you nationalise this, obviously you're going to bankrupt the country, but also it makes absolutely no sense because the people won't have any say in running the everyday business of BT. So we'll see how this goes. Again, the shares of the BT have gone down. The consumers are not happy. No one's actually happy about this move. The people who own this, the ordinary workers of this company, are not happy. So let's just hope Jeremy Corbyn doesn't win this election. Now, in other news, The Guardian have written an article and called this channel Hard Right, because, that's how hard we are. We have an article that said, the hard right channels do better on YouTube. Well, thanks, we do, yeah. While left-wing pages are performing better on Facebook, the YouTube landscape skews to the right. In one popular video, Tousi, oh that's me, criticizes the Liberal Democrats' use of charts and polling data, recycling broadcast clips and using an aggressively worded title, a ploy that often helps to increase views on the platform. Okay, so their problem is that I made a video about the Lib Dems lying about their leaflet charts. Well, there was no lie. The only lie that came from the Lib Dems and Joe Swinson. We just presented the facts and said this is the reality. And apparently that's propaganda. Yeah, okay, sure. We never claim on this channel to be some sort of God-given, impartial, completely without any views. This is obviously a right-leaning channel, and we always clarify, and we provide the facts, and if there's an opinion, I always say this is my opinion, without saying, trust me, this is the truth. When there's a fact, it's a fact. When there's an opinion, it's an opinion. Get used to it. Now, today we are in Stoke as part of our election tour. We're going to go to the Stoke Central to speak to some of the voters and see if anyone wants to express their opinion on the election and how everything's going here. It's going to be very close. There are a number of seats in this area from obviously Stoke, but also Crewe, Nantwich was nearby, and on top of it, Antoinette Sandbach's seat, who's obviously no longer a Conservative, thank God. We're going to go around and see what people think.
Absolutely, statistically, 70% of the city voted to leave. So, but there's also some Remainers who accept the result and just want to get on with it. So I would say it's probably 80%. Hopefully we can coalesce those people to the Conservative Party. Yeah. Brexit Party unfortunately doesn't have a chance, but we need to get them to vote Conservative, and that's what I've been doing in Stoke North, knocking on doors, delivering leaflets. So if we don't get Stoke North, the Conservatives don't get Stoke North, we don't get a majority and Brexit's over, so you have to vote Conservative.
So obviously you're all Brexiteers, so that means basically you're all stupid, you don't know what you voted for, right?
Yeah,
so
we're all garbage.
Brexit, basically.
Just want out of the EU, if you know the truth and that lot. So yeah, out of the EU.
Because you were saying earlier that after the Brexit stuff, actually people know more about the EU, because before that they didn't.
How they've treated the country, our country, calling us, well, Brexit is a place in hell for us, yeah, telling us we're going to be a second-rate country. Yeah. Unbelievable. It's just, if that doesn't want to put people off staying in the EU, yeah. Well, the vote's been given. We've had the vote. We voted to leave. So basically, it's been said before, anyone who, like the Lib Undems, yeah, they got the traitors, they walk around and they're on the television and they're preaching, as if it's something good, to say we don't want to remain. It's going against the people's vote. Is that good then? Or rubbish?
So what are you going to do? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm just working. I'm just working and I'm trying to speak with people. I think that's very important. I think we should talk actually about why people voted this way and what is the reason. Because until we will still talk about only Brexit, then we will not be able to open the eyes of the rest of the people.
Why do you want Brexit yourself? Like, why do you want to get out?
At least I want to make my own decision. In the way that I know that there is someone who we never voted and they making these decisions we actually don't agree with, then I think it's the worst case, isn't it?
Absolutely. And what's the kind of situation here, people's opinions on the kind of the Brexit Party and the Tories divide and all this?
I think if you look at the European election results, clearly a lot of people have sympathy with the Brexit Party, but I do also think that was a protest vote at the time as well. If you look statistically at Stoke-on-Trent, for example, all the seats here, the only way to get Labour out and install a Brexiteer MP is to vote Conservative, and that's the only way we can do it here. Perhaps it might be different somewhere else in the country, but not in Stoke. You've got to vote Conservative, and that vote has been galvanising. Just look at 2017. We just need to push a little bit more to get Ruth Smith and Gareth Snell out.
Yeah. We were talking about the media earlier and how you can't really trust them. And what's your opinion on how they run the agenda?
spinning lies. I mean, it's like they pinpoint a fault in someone, right, and then it's just spin out of control. I mean, it's like Jeremy Corbyn's lies about the Conservatives selling off the NHS. Oh my days! I mean, it's like sorry about the French, but I mean, it's like the Tories come up with the idea of the NHS, but Labour is like just spun out of control and claim their own. So at the end of the day, it's Jeremy Corbyn and his lies.
It's funny because we were saying last night in the news, Labour announced that they want to give free broadband to everyone, and the mainstream media, BBC, went around saying free internet. Actually, in reality, it's not free. And the fact that the mainstream media keeps saying it's free, it's not free. You're going to be paying for it.
Nothing's free.
And that's the problem with the media, and that's why, we have not just YouTubers, but also a lot of others who think we have to kind of speak out to kind of show the real thing.
I looked at Sky News' Lewis Goodhall and how he announced the policy as though it was like an absolutely amazing policy that's really going to shift the vote to the Labour Party, and I actually think it trivialises the word free. If everything becomes free, then we don't actually accept we need to pay for things. So I actually don't think this is going to be as popular as Labour think it's going to be. I think people are going to stop. I think it's going to backfire on them actually.
Now, as part of this channel's election tour, we're going around. So tomorrow we will be in Ipswich. We're going to speak to the Conservative candidate Tom Hunt, but also the activists and the local voters. If you want to find out exactly what time I'm going to get there, and in general, if you want to know where I go and what time, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll also post it on YouTube when I know exactly the location and everything. As always, if you want to keep up with this channel, make sure you subscribe and click on the bell next to it so you get notified when I release a new video. And if you want to check out our merchandise page with the new t-shirts design that we have, the link is in the description. We have the new design, All I Want for Christmas is Brexit. You could also find different kind of designs for t-shirts and other merchandise on that page. And if you have any design ideas, leave it in the comment section and I'll check it out. As always, I'm Tousi, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.